and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we have Paul Whiteside. All right, Paul?
Hey, Rob, you okay, mate?
How's your short week been, mate?
Short week or short weekend?
Short weekend.
Yeah, no, it's been all right, thank you. Yeah, very good. I enjoyed the match on Saturday. Cracking match. You know, shame about the result and what have you. But, yeah, doing okay, mate, thank you.
Yeah, and we've got Paul Park in as well. Parker, how's your weekend been so far, apart from the defeat yesterday?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just trying to think what I've done besides the match. Not much, I don't think, but yeah, no, it's been good. Bit of a mad rush, but yeah, no, like Paul said, really enjoyed the game yesterday, which I know we're going to talk about. But yeah, no, I've not really done anything in between, but I'm sure the week will have something in store for me.
Yeah, decided to wear my Martin Burkitt shirt today because we're on YouTube. I can wear stuff now, which is great. Parker.
Yeah, very good, very historic shirt, that one. Yeah, it's funny when you were telling Martin the other week when we did that chat about it, how it came about. I mean,
I know.
How random. You know, it's not like you bid for it on eBay or he was selling it himself. Some random place in Castleford, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, very it was strange. A Conservative club, but you just come out the train station and the guy just sat me in the shoulder in the bar and said, "Are you Salford?" And I thought, "Oh, here we go." And he went, "I've got something for you." And he went in the back and gave it me in a plastic bag. Strange world.
Yeah, that's the stuff of legend. That just doesn't happen. Does not happen. Well, not to me anyway. He's end up spending a fortune on eBay buying it, or other auction sites are available, obviously.
Yeah, if it fits him, it'll fit him better than it fits me, Paul.
Well, it looks all right. It looks a bit big for you, actually. It's you might imagine they wore like padding, quite big padding then, didn't they? In them days, the old shoulder pads and what have you. But no, I think it looks all right to me.
Which is great. Like I say, I'm hoping to slim into it, so then I'll be able to wear it even more. Then.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Yeah,
so we got loads to go at today. We're going to look back at the Wigan defeat at weekend. We've got a big interview with director Paul Traynor. He's going to tell us about the club's plans for the community, stuff that they do, and link it in with the schools and the amateur clubs, and how it's all coming together. It's a very interesting interview, well worth tuning in for. It's going to be fantastic. And then we'll preview the Warrington game on Thursday. So what we'll do, we'll start off with the defeat against Wigan on Saturday.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So, Salford Red Devils suffered the home defeat in front of a crowd at the AJ Bell Stadium. They were defeated by Wigan, 17 points to 16, Parker. Sort of heartbreak, really. Last-minute drop goal by ex-Red Jackson Hastings was the difference.
Yeah, it's hard to sum up that game. That first half was easily the best 40 minutes we've produced this season, and possibly, for quite a while, really. Even at the back end of last season, we looked really good. We gave Wigan so many problems, and probably should have been further ahead. Maybe a soft try or two for Wigan, leveled it up for them a little bit. But overall, what a pleasing performance. I was with you lads the other day, and I was, I wasn't holding out much hope. I thought Wigan might turn up and just grind us down slowly, and I suppose in many ways they did a little bit, but not in the style that I expected. We were really, really good. The lads have got to take a lot of credit for that, and it's got to give us a big boost for the season. Wigan have now gone top of the league after obviously Saints got beat, and we've pushed them all the way, and they're top of the league. Who are we? So I think going forward now we'll take a lot of confidence from that. We can keep a more or less settled side, we'll do okay. But overall, for the full 80, we were in that game. We fought for everything. We just need a bit of luck. Bounce the ball. I'm going to play cliche bingo again, but that the rub of the green kind of thing. We just didn't get anything. The try that Wigan scored where he went, 80 metres or whatever it was, a little kick through from deck pattern, could go anywhere when he bounces off someone. Straight into his hands, bump off you go. We're on the back foot. We've already gone past the ball by that point. In the second, I think it was Escaré who went for the drop goal, gets charged down. It doesn't just get charged down and bounces back to us for another set. It goes straight to the Wigan player again. And there you go. it's just that them little percents that make the big difference. And if we can get that, and again, it's easy to say, but I don't think the referee helped us very much. I'm not picking him out for the reason we lost, but there were one or two decisions there that were odd, should we say? But overall, very pleasing, and what a much improved performance, and it seems to be happening week on week now. The last couple of cast games were good. We're probably just out muscled and out thought against a very good Saints team the week before. But this is full credit to the lads. It was a great performance.
It was a fantastic performance, best one of the season so far for me, Paul. Like Parky said, the chances were there, but for me, Richard Marshall talks about sort of the smarts quite a lot, and you can tell Wigan are a playoff side. The season, they know what they've got to do to win the game, and obviously we're going to talk about the game. But that last sort of 5 minutes where we tried to sort of push the pass, and I think Harvey Let tried to kick to the corner, and it didn't quite work out. And Wigan sort of brought the ball forward and set up the field goal opportunity. That's the difference for me. It's Wigan were measured in their approach in that sort of last 3 to 5 minutes, which was the difference.
Yeah, they've got some world-class players, haven't they? They're a good side. They're not the Super League runners-up for nothing, are they? They've been in these big games before. And I think with us, perhaps we were just a bit naive there in that last sort of 10, 12 minutes of the game. Morgan Escudé, I know he went for a drop goal there. Perhaps in hindsight, it would have been better to build a bit of pressure there, try and kick, get a repeat set and get yourself in a better position to drop the goal, because it was a bit rushed and a bit snatched at, really. So whereas theirs was a bit more clinical. But no, I think going back to the match, I totally agree with both of you. I think it's the best we played all season. That first half, we gave Wigan problems. Whereas in other games, we've not really tested teams out. In that game, we attacked well. We played a bit more of a structure, if you like. Morgan Escudé, I think that was a good selection, because he came in and he gave us a bit of an extra dimension. He gave Wigan something to think about, because he was dangerous on the ball. And, I think Tuilola here as well seemed to play with the shackles off him. There was a couple of times we run at the Wigan line. They didn't have a clue what he was going to do. He was going to kick the ball, he was going to pass the ball, he was going to take him on. And that pass to Wells, what a ball that was, and the line he run there. So we looked a lot more dangerous, and we stayed in the arm wrestle as well. And like you said about Wigan, though, that's the side they are. They were never in front of the whole game until that last 3 minutes when they dropped the goal. So they grind you down, they stay there, they stay in the game, don't they? And I think you've got to give them credit for that. There's a few decisions, like Parky said, that I'd like to see again, particularly the Elijah Taylor incident where he steals the ball. I only saw that from miles away where I was sat, so you can't really tell what had gone on. I know there's a few other bits and bobs as well, but could have gone either way. And I think in the old days, a draw would have been a fair result in that game. I know it probably would have gone to golden point extra time if it would have been 16 all, but there was nothing between the two sides. I said that in my match report, cigarette paper between them, and it really was. There was nothing there whatsoever. It was so close, and you've got to give the lads a lot of credit for that. Wigan are probably going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, and as Parky said before as well, the cast games, that could have gone either way. And I mean, even if you go back to Monday, the St Helens match, there was not a lot in that game. It was 6-0 that. And I think with about an hour, 20 minutes to go, it was only 12. And that try come on the back of us attacking. So you give the lads a bit of credit there. They played two of the best sides in the league and done really well. A lot of honest graft, a lot of endeavour. And now we're starting to see these partnerships developed as well. Again, at the weekend, though, we didn't have Andy Ackers in the team. Danny Addy was there, and I thought he did okay. So we are starting to build some partnerships there now, and a bit of fluidity. So we're getting better, which is a good thing, and making progress.
Yeah, we talked about decisions, Parker, the Escalay Escari try, disallowed try early on. People around me in the press box were a bit confused about why it wasn't given. I've seen a sort of video since then on Twitter, and it was Ryan Lannon running into their line, which obstructed, I think, was Bateman in the line, and Escari ran right through the gap, which made the score. And that is why the try was disallowed. Fine margins, really. That's the difference in the top flight.
Yeah, I didn't. From where I was sat in the West Stand, I was near the front, and as I looked down that side to see that everyone from the bench was up, so he couldn't actually see what had happened.
Yeah.
If that's what it was, I think again that's what makes it worse, because there were 2 or 3 occasions where right in front of me, Wigan players ran into our line and through our line, blocking players off and weren't penalised. Yes, there wasn't a try coming off it or anything like that, but the same thing's got to apply for both teams. They're the ones that annoy me. Not referees will make mistakes. That's that's going to happen. But it's when it's not fair, when he gives it one way and not the other. Seems to turn a blind eye to certain things. But yeah, it was a shame that we'd worked well to get up there end of the pitch, and like Paul said, Escaré, caused them quite a few problems in slightly in the the Niall Evalds mould in that way as an attacking weapon. He's a good one to use. So I didn't actually see what had gone on there. I was a bit confused as to why, because I couldn't even see the referee's signal at the end, mainly because everybody off the bench was just on the touchline. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame because it would have been a cracking start, really.
Yeah, well, obviously it turned out a good start for us. In the end, Harvey Levett, sort of an 80-metre sort of pick up and run score, Paul, showed great pace, kind of gave up running halfway, a bit like Adrian Adley against Swinton many, many years ago, kind of forgot to finish it off, but managed to get over the line and we took the lead.
I think he'd be dead chuffy there saying 80 metres. I thought it was about 60, but I think we'll say 80 then. But no, he showed some pace, and I tell you what, I've been very, very impressed with Harvey Levett last few weeks. I think he's really, really come of his own. And I think I said to you guys a while ago, I was really surprised that Warrington, I think he was at the time, he was on loan at Hull, that they'd let him go, because he's not just an head down merchant. He's a player that can play in a whole host of positions. He's a very useful player and a very clever player as well. So I think he's finding his feet now in the team. And no, he did really well there to score that. And I think that was on the next set or two sets after the Escaré disallowed try, wasn't it? So we got a really good start to the game there.
It was a great start, and like Paul said there, Parker, what a talent this kid. I can't understand how he isn't in sort of reckoning for an international spot at the moment. He's playing. He's a back rower, but he's playing in the centre. He's got great hands. He can kick goals, and he's a quite big bloke as well. He's definitely got a great future.
Yeah, very much. I mean, this time he could easily play his way in the way he's playing. He's been outstanding. I've not seen him have a bad game. And like we said, he missed the Saints game, got injured just before the game. That's a massive blow for us to miss a lad like that. But that try took some scoring, and he actually caught the ball literally in front of me when he took the ball. And I just thought at the time he's going to get. He was shrugging him off, and I thought he's going to get pulled down here. I think Hardacre was facing him. Someone like, so I thought, well, he's not got the legs on that. And when he went, I mean, unbelievable. I didn't think he was going to make it in the end. He looked like he just completely run out of gas. But great finish. But yeah, great talent. Even like you say, the goal kick and that penalty he kicked in the second half, fair distance out that for someone who's not your first choice kicker. He has been outstanding. He's got like you said, a big future in front of him. And who knows if he keeps putting in performances like that? Certainly the England Knights isn't out of his reach. And in a World Cup year, it only takes a couple of injuries, and somebody's got to be drafted into squads. So yeah, no, it was a great try though, really, really good. And the way he fought them off, to the strength to actually just make that space for himself and then push away, brilliant try. And I think most centres in the league would have been proud of that. Never mind the back rower. So yeah, great try. And I like that, like you said, we said it a few weeks ago. Something about Warrington, they do this a lot. They seem to they don't develop enough players for the amount of amateur scene and everything they've got there. And then when they do, they seem to just let them go. I mean, Deck Patton's another one now. Gareth O'Brien was there for a while. These players come through, they do, but they just seem to cast them off. And it's good for us that he has, but I'm sure even Hull would have been loving to keep him last season. But we've done really well to get hold of him, and I'm sure the rest of the season will be more or less the same for him. He's just head down and keep playing.
Yeah, that's all I want. As long as he keep putting in big performances, that he's going to turn heads on people picking the international squads at the end of the season. Wigan it back with a Brad Singleton try. Paul kind of burrowed his way over. Defence was a bit, could have been better really.
Well, he scored two, didn't he? And they were both very similar, weren't they? Off like a short ball. And yeah, I thought our defence was a bit shaky there, really. I mean, you'd be disappointed to concede them sort of tries, wouldn't you? But Wigan had an awful lot of pressure. I mean, they had numerous sets of six on our line. Same in the start of the second half, we had to weather a bit of a storm. Didn't you? You're going to get that. They've got a big pack of forwards, aren't they? That Singleton's a really big bloke. But I think Richard Marshall will be disappointed there that they've not cut you to pieces with a miracle try. They've gone over and scored something that perhaps you should have defended and perhaps you should have kept out. But we hit back straight away, really, didn't we? With the Jack Wells. I thought he ran a perfect line then. I don't think he'd been on the field very long. About 10 seconds. He'd just come off the bench, hadn't he? And magic work from Tuil Olaria that to set that try up, and that took some scoring as well, because when he got to the line, there was some defenders, and he showed great strength to get over the line against his former club.
Yeah, great burst from him. Even though I think the announcer called it as Jack Almonroyd, which made me double check at one point. I was thinking, sure, it was Jack Wells who scored. I thought I was going a bit mad, but Parky, fantastic burst, like Paul said. It shows what class he's got. Wells has gone under the radar for me. He's playing constantly at a great level.
Yeah, and obviously he's had that talent for years. That's why Wigan snapped him up as a kid. They don't generally sign young lads that aren't good enough. They've got enough around the Wigan area to bring in. Never mind one from Salford. So, but yeah, he did really well for that. And like Paul said, to his ball and the way he read the play and seeing where he needed his man to be was superb. But going back to the Wigan try, I saw it up close. A bit of a story, but I used binoculars for the first time at the game. On Saturday. Yeah, I think it's well known amongst most people. My eyes aren't brilliant. And I had a close-up view of it. And at first, I thought, we've held him up. And he did really well, Singleton, to get the ball down. We can say it was soft from us, and it was a little bit, but he did really well, because he could have touched the ball down and done a double movement. And he just shown strength. And full credit to him for that. Which obviously not great for us. But then, like you say, to strike back again straight away. And at that point in the game, I actually grew in confidence and thought, do you know what? They don't scare me. Wigan don't bother me. I think we've got enough to take them on. We'd shown that we could get up the pitch, which is a massive thing. We haven't done that all year. We haven't been able to break teams down and make, big meters in sets of 6. We've been stuck in our half and then kicking from the, 30 or 40 and getting nowhere. And we made really good strides to get up the pitch several times in that first half. Our forwards really bossed it for a bit. And then, like you say, Jack crashes over. I'm sure he was absolutely delighted with that. I'm sure it was a big moment in his career. And we're on the front foot again. And at that point, I actually, like I say, I thought, we can do this. We can beat these. They didn't look up for it. They didn't fancy it.
Parky mentioned us being able to make ground more this week. Paul, what do you think the difference was? Why do you think we made more ground this week than we have in the last few?
I think we made more ground against Wigan than St Helens, because I think, judging the two sides, I looked at both teams thinking these are the two best sides in the country. They both played in the grand final last year. And I tell you what, St Helens in that second half, they stepped up a gear, and a big gear as well. Whereas Wigan didn't. They just seemed to plod along at the same sort of level. So out of the two of them, I was very impressed with Saints. And not that I'm taking anything away from Salford whatsoever. Didn't think Wigan were that good, and I thought, we've got a real chance in this game. And I thought a lot of credit there must go to our pack. I thought the forwards played really well, and let's have it right. We had Lee Mossop missing, who's your captain, who's a big goal forward man, and you had James Greenwood out as well. So and Andy Acker. So there was 3 big players there who play a key part and a cornerstone of our pack missing. I know Wigan had players missing as well, but if you add into that Dan Sargison, you got 4 players there that have easily have played at the weekend. So I think the forwards deserve an awful lot of credit. I think your 2 wingers, Ken Seal, Rhys Williams as well. I mentioned him in the report. I think he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, because he's not scoring the tries at the moment, but he's steady-headed every week. Never drops a ball. I don't want to curse him now, but he takes every pass, takes every kick. He's safe as houses, but he makes a lot of yards when he comes in looking for work, and he's difficult to stop. Watching him at the weekend, he takes 2 or 3 players to tackle him because he's so strong in the tackle. So, I thought the forwards did well against a pack there. Like we've said, Singleton's a big man, Parkinson's a big fella, you've got Farrell. They're a big side, Wigan, and I thought we dominated their pack for large periods of that game.
Yeah, because I think it's a forwards battle, Parky. But like Paul said, you've got your backs that are coming for work and returning the ball as well. If you can get on the front foot early in the set, it makes a big difference, doesn't it, going forward?
Yeah, very much so. That first return is usually key. That's why, for me, Sarge has been great at it, but I prefer to have an actual fullback playing there. But like Paul said, our wingers, they return the ball with some force. Ken Seo's a big lad, really. He's not obviously not the tallest, but strength-wise, he takes some stopping. And Rhys Williams, it's funny, I was talking to one of the lads this morning about it, and I singled Williams out as for a bit of credit. And like Paul just said, he doesn't get enough credit for me. He never puts a foot wrong. And there was a lot of talk at the weekend that Burgess may have been back. And so, and for me, he's got to earn, any player's got to earn the right to get in the team.
Definitely.
And until Williams does something wrong or has an injury, there isn't an opening there for me. That's the way I see it. I think he's got to stay in. He's been brilliant. And again, getting that close up of him on Saturday, being on the touchline near him, you see how much, like Paul said, how difficult it is to put him down. There's not a lot of him, but he's so strong, and he doesn't want to die with the ball. And he's all, when he gets in, he bounces a little bit, trying to find that gap, trying to put the defender off and make it difficult. Even if there are 2 or 3 on him, one of them will fall off the tackle, and if he can do that, if he gets the ball in their 10, 20, rather than ours, he's going to cause a lot of problems. But yeah, the back line were good. But for me, the forwards were absolutely outstanding. I mean, some really big performances from, Seb again, Ikehefo. What season he's having. He's only on loan. He could easily, he could be one of them who could just put his cue on the rack. He's not a Salford player. Hopefully we could make it that way for next year. But and Paulie made a massive difference the other day. I thought he worked so hard for the team. He perhaps didn't have all the blockbusting runs you'd expect from him. But again, against that Wigan pack, he didn't stop. Defence was everywhere. And then, you throw the other guys in, Wells and Ormroyd and people like that. It was a great effort. And like Paul said, we had players missing. But we stuck at it. And our forwards really give it Wigan. And I don't think they were expecting it.
Yeah, you've got your forwards going forwards. You've got a great quality of backs. No Kevin Brown this week, Paul, but you got Dec Patton and Tuilola here. I thought linked up quite well. Patton came in, did a bit, showed a little bit of moments. Obviously had his kick charged down, which caused Liam Farrell to go, so Wigan to go 80 yards and Farrell to score in the end. But he did some good things for me, and it's promising.
He did, and I don't want to sound off it about Kevin Brown, because I think Kevin's never let us down as play, but I think playing with somebody different, Tuilola seemed to have a bit more freedom. And I must admit, I've probably not been a massive fan of Declan Patton so far, but in the game at the weekend, he looked dangerous every time he had the ball, particularly in their 25. And so his short kicking game was pretty good as well. There was a few times where he was a bit unlucky, where it didn't quite come off for him, but on another day we could have scored some tries off that. So perhaps Richard Marshall now will keep those two together. I'm not sure about Kevin Brown's injury. He didn't look too clever in the St Helens game, so whether he'll be out for a few weeks, I'm not sure. So if he is going to be out, I think, perhaps time to give those two guys a bit of time together now. If we can keep Danny Addy and Andy Ackers at hooker, and you've got Chris Atkins play there as well, haven't you? Perhaps leave Patton, and I don't think Patton's a hooker. I don't think that at all. I think if he is anything, he's a half-back. And I thought when we first signed him, he looked unfit, but he looked a bit top-heavy for me, around his chest and that, as if he'd put a bit of weight on to play the hooking role. So, whether he can slim down a bit and play in the halves, I'm not too sure. But he's definitely got the talent for it. And he took the shackles off Tui as well. So perhaps that's the makings of a good partnership, because I think you've got Atkins coming off the bench. Atkins good coming off the bench for me. He's quick, he's dynamic. He's another one, clever player, good kicking game as well, and good to have in your team. So I know people have got a bit impatient with Richard Marshall, and he's saying about his selections and things like that, but it's been difficult for him. You've got to learn on the job. You've not got a load of friendly games to play. You've got to learn as you go through Super League and try these things out. So I think he's just getting there now and finding the combinations. Yeah.
So like we said, Liam Farrell hits back for Wigan. 12-10, and then we get a penalty just before half time to make it 14-10 to go in. Parker, 14-10 half time. It was a good position to be in, really.
Yeah, like I said earlier on, I think Wigan were probably lucky to have 10. I really do. I think, like we said, just going back to what Paul said about Dec Patton as well. I think he needs time. He needs time to play scrum half. He's a massive role, and when he's been in and out of the team, and then he's played hooker and he's come off the bench, I think if we give him a run of games now with the Tua, there might be something there. It's difficult to drop a player in for a game, especially in that role. You know what I mean? He's got the players. He's got to get the players working off him. He's the main man in that in the structure, really. I thought he did okay for his first game back. There's a couple of things, maybe past choices and that kind of thing, but that'll come. He just needs time. He's clearly a talented lad. He always had that little bit of something, but. Yeah, I think give him time, another couple of games, especially, this week, we're facing Warrington, his former club. He'd love to get one over on him, a big performance, but that's up to Richard and obviously Kev Brown's injury and so on. But at half time, I was delighted. I think everybody was, everyone was up giving a standing ovation for the effort they give. Wigan, like I say, don't think deserved 10. They got a try where they just crashed over, and then this to the lucky bounce, and he's gone, 70, 80 metres or whatever, and somehow managed to score. That happens. But I thought overall, we controlled the first half. And I noticed Wigan had a kind of ploy to play to our left wing, Williams and Levette, and probably thought, well, one's not a centre and one's not the biggest lad. They had Hardacre out there to run at him. Every time he got snuffed out. I mean, Harvey Levette, again, his defence was incredible. The amount of times he one-on-one, he just hammered the player and put him down, stopped them playing. And I think Wigan at our time, and Adrian Lamb would have gone in and thought, how are we going to get around these? How are we going to act? Because, like Paul said earlier, they weren't creating anything. It was too opportunist tries, really. But as a team, they didn't really worry us. And I was delighted at our time. And I was getting text messages from all over saying, best 40 we've had. And, we couldn't disagree. And everyone was buzzing at half time. So we keep this up, we'll win this. And to the credit, I think they did keep it up. But, you don't always get the results you deserve. But, no, great to go in half time winning against a team like Wigan. The sun was shining. I thought, this, it's our day, this.
Yeah, it did feel like that, but it wasn't in the end. And I look back at that second half, Paul, and didn't start off well. We knocked on in the first set, and it kind of like put pressure on us. Wigan sat on our line for a bit, and we took a lot. We used a lot of gas, I thought, during that period, which kind of showed at the back end of that second half, I feel.
Yeah, it did. I wrote that in my notes in the game that we weathered a big storm there at the start of that second half. Wigan had an awful lot of ball. I think we put a bit of pressure on ourselves, didn't we? And then I was thinking to myself in the first half when we kicked that penalty goal to put us 6-0 up, I thought, how should we run that there? Mm-hmm. And then there was one in the second half that put us 16-10 up, and it was 14-10. And I know hindsight, as they say, is a wonderful thing. And after the game, it's all right saying we should have done this, we should have done that. But sometimes, you get a gut feeling, think we need to run this here because we've got these buggers on the ropes. And I did think that. But I'm not saying we ran out of gas. I think Wigan just timed it right, didn't they, really? And just going back to what Parky said, the two tries they scored in the first half, the one where that Harry Smith went through, and let's have it right, he's a cracking young player. Very, very fortunate, I thought. I mean, you could say, it's a great pass to Liam Farrell. It wasn't. He chucked that ball out there, and it was a desperate pass that landed. and all credit to him, it was good to watch. Well, it was painful to watch, but it was exciting stuff. But no, I thought they just grind results out, don't they? They just hang in there and keep going and keep going. And the try that they did score came on the back of a mistake. Ken Seal dropped the ball, didn't he? And I think it was the first or second tackle. A bit of an unforced error for me. And, he doesn't make many of those. And we just couldn't hold the line, could we? And Singleton again. I only saw it live. I've not seen any replays, but it was a short ball, wasn't it? And difficult to defend it against a big man like that.
Big man, tired bodies, Parker. At 16 all, I thought there's only going to be one winner here.
Yeah, I turned to my brother at that point and said, what's happening, what's coming. And I knew exactly who was going to get it. No, there was no doubt. They worked themselves into a decent position. But again, I think it was off the back of a poor refereeing decision that got them up the park, got them up there. Very disappointed. Paul mentioned before about the Elijah Taylor one. Again, happened right in front of me. I still can't work out where the referee's got his decision from, how he's took it back to a certain point. Because if what happened or what he said happened, they'd had the advantage and should have just played on anyway. I didn't quite understand what he'd given in that situation, but they kicked the ball back up the pitch again.
Was that the one where he stole the ball off him?
Yeah.
Right. I think what it was, we knocked on, so then they get like a free play. So we then stole the ball on the free play, so they don't get an advantage. So you have to go back.
Did we knock on?
We knocked on, yeah.
I don't remember us knocking on at that point.
They had the ball.
That was the decision.
They had the ball, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the ball. I'm not sure.
But we had I'm going to watch it on Red Devils TV when it comes out in the next couple of days. But I'm in my head, I'm thinking that it was like a kick in the air, and there was a coming together. And I'm sure we kind of spilt the ball forward. They picked the ball up, and then we tried to rip the ball out. Might be on my imagination playing tricks on me, but I think that's what happened.
No, I didn't see it that way at the time. I don't remember thinking, that's a knock-on play. We'll see where it goes. But Maybe I missed it. I don't know. But and going back to what Paul said before about that penalty in the first half where we went for the 2, again, I turned to my brother and said, I'd run this. I 4-6 didn't make a great difference in the scoreline. We had Wigan on the ropes a little bit. And there are times in games like that when you're playing against a good team like Wigan that you might not touch the ball for another 20 minutes after that. You know, you make a mistake when you get the ball back. Anything can happen. For me, at that point in the game, I thought that was the wrong decision. If we'd won the game by 2, then great. But you always felt that Wigan were going to be in it somewhere. If we could have stretched our lead to 10 or whatever, you know what I mean? That would have been a bit of a killer at that point. But anyway, that's the way it goes. But no, Jacko came back like O'Brien did the other week to break our hearts. It was a good drop goal from a fair distance, but the only disappointing thing for me was he wasn't under any pressure. When he caught that ball, he had acres of space and time to make his decision. But they set it up well. Full credit to him. And again, well done to Jacko for hitting it as much as it hurts. And I thought we contained him for most of the game, by the way. I thought we'd actually kept him out of the game really well. But you knew you just had that feeling it wasn't going to be our day in that way because, like I said earlier, just that rub of the green that we need. You know, they couldn't have dropped it in the build-up to that. He couldn't have took the drop goal. It'd gone wider at the post or anything like that. It sailed through over the post. Actually, it didn't even, it went over the H's completely. I don't even know where it ended up. But yeah, good composure from the guy, and that's what you get from real quality, isn't it? But heartbreaking, and we still had time really to get back into it, but it just wasn't going to go our way.
Yeah, I thought we dug in at that point, and I was talking to my dad sort of after the game, and he said that he thought the Wigan fullback knocked on after Levet had kicked to him. I was on the other side of the pitch, about 80 yards away behind him, so I can't comment on that. I don't know where you were, Packer. Did you have a better view of it than I did?
I don't really. No, I don't. I was in the west stand.
Right.
I was like second row as well, so it was a little bit. You don't always get an ideal view.
He was in the south stand, and the south stand said erupted because they saw it. And it's another one where now we've got Red Devils TV, and now we get to see the game again. You can rewind it and have a look, which is great.
Yeah, I think at one, but wasn't there a player in touch as well?
There was that one.
Not seen by the linesman or something. These are the little things that you can't see. These are the things for someone like Richard Marshall that he can't control them.
Yeah. Everything
he could and the team could control the other day, we did. To the letter, and he would have been delighted with him at the end of the game. He's not much. I said at the end, you can't ask for more than that in a performance. We gave everything we could with players missing. In key players and players like Mossop and Sarge and Ackers, who would give us that experience in key moments in games that maybe we didn't have on the pitch at that time. And I think we've just got to look at that now and build on that. Show them the video again. Let them see. But we play like that most weeks. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. I saw enough there the other day that's relieved a lot of my concerns. I think I know results today as well. Haven't left us in a great position in the table as such, but there's a long way to go. We've got a lot of beatable teams to play, and we play like that, we'll be absolutely fine. Yeah,
you've got to play your own game and not look at what other teams are doing. That's the thing now, Paul. Obviously Richard Marshall and the team are starting to click a bit, and obviously defeat against Wigan isn't the end of the world. We can go on to bigger and better things off the back of that.
Yeah, but in a word of caution, though, you've got to raise your game again next week now. Super Leagues like that every week. You can't just say, oh yeah, we played really well against Wigan and lost by a point and put the queue on the rack for the next month. You can't do that. You've got to step up next week against Warrington. And just going back a bit, rewinding a bit, I was going to jump in before, but I didn't want to interrupt you, about them penalty goals, because maybe to do with that, we're a team that's a bit low on confidence, I think, at the moment. And perhaps a team that's winning matches would have run it there. We've not scored loads of points this season, and I can see now why we perhaps did go for goals. So, it's about building that confidence. And that game at the weekend will have gone real far in building confidence, because they come up short there and they deserve a pat on the back. Played tremendously well in a game against a really good side, and that's only going to do the confidence of the world of good. Warrington's going to be, a different proposition on Thursday. They've got some class players as well, haven't they, and like to throw the ball around. But I like to think sometimes Warrington are not as disciplined as Wigan and St Helens. Don't seem to be to me. you seem to have a better chance sometimes of getting a result against them, and we have done in the past. We've seemed to do okay against them, and I like Parky's idea of Declan Patton. I think if he's ever going to have a good game for Salford, it's going to be on Thursday night against Warrington. So yeah, we've definitely got to be consistent now. You've got to carry on that now, and when you do play, no disrespect to Wakefield and Hull KR and teams like that, Huddersfield, when you play those sides, you've got to play like you're playing Wigan and St Helens, because these teams are improving as well. Huddersfield have absolutely battered Lee today in a game at Lee, so they're winning matches. Hull KR have won some good games. Wakefield have won today as well. So, teams, I don't think there's a lot between the teams in Super League. Obviously, St Helens look the best side, don't they? But the rest of the teams, pretty even, really, aren't they? So you can't afford to go into a match undercooked, is what I'm trying to point. I'm going around the houses a bit here, but that's the point I'm trying to make, yeah.
Yeah, I think what it is, it's when we're talking about the penalties thing, it's the psychological side of the game, because if you don't go over, everyone just deflates, don't they? And that's at that point that they're thinking, kick the 2 edges further away. I know as fans you're thinking, let's go for the throat, but if you don't convert that chance and they come up, they clear their lines, Paul, it kind of gets a bit of a downer, which might affect the next set.
Yeah, it's who dares, isn't it? I suppose at the end of the day, you can tick a penalty goal, and then you're having the ball kicked back to you. You make a mistake in front of your own sticks. They've got the ball, so it's one of those, and it depends. I think a lot of the time when you've got confidence running through your team, you believe you're going to score in every set, don't you? I mean, you go back to 2019, our run to the grand final. We wouldn't kick penalty goals; they would have run it. But that's the way that you're playing at the time. At the moment, we're a team low on confidence, and in a couple of weeks' time, we might be scoring tries, and then we might run it. So it's a tough one. You say in the game, you're in the crowd, you go, "Oh, you need to run it, and you get people putting their fingers in the air saying, "Take the 2." It depends. You're not down on the pitch, you don't know what's going on down there. Yeah. So there's never. I don't think there's ever a right answer, is there, to that?
No, I think you're right in what you're saying. I think if we thought as a team we were going to dominate most of the possession and territory in that game, then taking 2 points is the right thing to do. Because every time you get down, there's a chance you might get another penalty and go again. You know what I mean? For me, the way we've been, I think we've got to take our chances when we can. The 4-6 didn't make a huge difference at that point, and that was a little bit of an issue. And like I say, you look at it, that we're probably thinking at that point, we might not touch the ball again for a while here. It could be some, we like Paul just said, we drop the ball in our half, and then we're going to dominate from there, and we don't get another chance, and them points could come in handy. But I think it is a confidence thing, and I think if you're going to be on the front foot and you are going to get another chance in that game, then tap it and go and do whatever. But at the moment, it's a case of get points on the board. You never know, we might be looking get another one, or score a try and we stretch that lead again. Just didn't happen that way as such. But no, it is a tough one, and it's got to be a decision made on the pitch at that moment and from the coaching staff. And again, it was fairly early in the game, really, at that point when we did take that penalty. You don't know what's going to happen here for the rest of the match. So, who am I to say who's right and wrong? But it's just one of those. I thought at that very moment in time, we had him a little bit on the ropes, and we could have capitalised. Who knows? We might have dropped it first play. We can pick the ball up, go down the other end. So, like I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing.
It is, Parker. I spoke to Richard Marshall after the game, and this is what he had to say.
Coach's Corner.
All right, Ricky, it's Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Defeat today against Wigan. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a close contest, something that we've not really experienced before. And I thought we rode the punches really well. I thought at times we were very good, especially with the ball. I thought our attack was pretty good. Defended our line, but we had a couple of blips there in and around the middle where they got over too easy. Off the back of probably not doing what we said we were going to do at half time, which was complete the first couple of sets, kick the ball and put them in corners, and we couldn't manage to do that. But what we were 2 or 3 minutes away from winning the game. But we were drawing, weren't we, at the time? We needed something else to go our way.
Yeah, you talk about the smarts a lot. Do you think that ultimately won the game for Wigan?
Yeah, they've got a solid team, haven't they, of internationals, experienced players, played in grand finals. everything that goes with that. We've got a really dogged, workman-like team, and we're learning some tough lessons at the moment. And and it's not nice, and the taste is not nice in our mouth. But at the same time, we've got to dust ourselves down and go again against Warrington.
Yeah, you must have been impressed with the intense levels and discipline today.
Yeah, well, a lot better, and a lot better in a lot of areas. I think our completion was up around 80%, 79, 80%, which is where it needs to be. I think we won the penalty count, which we've not said that many times this year. I thought as I said, I thought our defence, we knew exactly what was happening defensively. We looked organised, just clinical with the ball. Yeah, we just need to be better with the ball.
Yeah, Harvey Levett impressed again, a try and some goals. He's a great talent.
He is. He's good, and we didn't use him last week, and I thought we got the benefit of a fresh, invigorated Harvey Levett, and he's goal kicking and doing his job, and he looks a handful. He's a big, solid lad, and we just need another 16, really. That's all.
Yeah, Morgan Escalade back in the side as well, Declan Patton. I think they linked up really well.
They did, yeah, they did all right. We did all right. We'd had one session, so for Morgan to come in and do a good job, and again, he was limping around at the end of the game. And then, and obviously Deck, he had some nice touches within that. But he'll be better for that game today. Yeah,
Warrington on Thursday, short turnaround, but you're hoping you'll be able to put up some performance and hopefully win this time.
Let's hope so. We can go toe to toe with another top team at the top of the table. Learn from our mistakes, learn from our errors. Our effort will be there. That will never be questioned. Just to make sure that we can seal a game.
Cheers, Rick. Good luck.
Thank you.
So that was Richard Marshall talking to himself after the game, and he talked about how close the contest was, Paul. And obviously we've had a few close contests over the last few weeks, and he was quite happy that we're kind of in that process now of competing in games.
Yeah, and he should be as well. He should be a lot happier. I mean, if you go back a month or so, and we go back to that league game, even though we won that game, people were coming away from it saying, "God, it was awful. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen." But you got 2 points from it. So I think the side's grown in confidence since then, week by week, and we're starting to see these sort of shining lights coming through now, aren't we? And it's difficult. What we played 8 games? Is it now 7 games, 8 games, and is it 7 or 8? I can't remember now. Lost 6-1-1, haven't we? So, out of the 7. So it's not the best start to the season, is it? But we've had some tough fixtures, and I think we're starting to see signs that we can do something. Now, obviously, we've got some big games coming up. It's Warrington this week. I think we play OKR, Huddersfield coming up as well. So there's some matches there where we need to win. If we lose those games, then yeah, people have every right to be frustrated and what have you. So time will tell over the next few weeks. But Richard's, for me, he deserves a bit of credit. He's starting to build something there at Salford. And I've seen people on social media getting on his case and whinging and moaning. And, it was the first game at the weekend. And I could see people after the Saints game slagging him off. And I thought, if you're going to turn up on Saturday and start booing the coach, you need to get behind him. You've not been to a game for 14 months. You need to get behind the team and get behind the coach. And I think we did yesterday. I think the supporters were great. They got behind the side. Fantastic atmosphere. And, yeah, just come up short. And I think everybody leaving the ground at the end of the game understood that. And they understood that the boys gave 100%, and that's all you can ask.
Yeah, Parky, you talked about learning tough lessons and sort of character building, and that's the kind of step you have to take if you want to go from a nearly team to a playoff team.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, again, at the end of the game, I walked away, and it was nice to be disappointed because it's a game we could have won, rather than being disappointed because we just didn't compete, we didn't do whatever. The signs there of improvement have been unbelievable, certainly over the last few weeks. And maybe we talked about it last week that, is he now starting to put his mark on the team? What does a Richard Marshall team look like? Well, if it looks like that, I think we'll all be pretty happy. We have had a tough start. I mean, we played the 2 grand finalists, basically 3 games out of 7. Other teams have probably had easier and steadier starts. So it has been tough, and it's hard to, when you're playing at St. Helens and you're playing against Wigan, to put how you want to play into a game with an inexperienced squad, or a squad that's not perhaps yours or whatever. It is difficult, and the time to start judging is towards the end of the season and think, did we do well enough in other games against, I don't know how you say it really, not lesser opposition, but they're not the Wigan and the Saints and the Warringtons of this league. But yeah, he's so encouraged by what he's seen, and there were just things there in attack that seemed to flow a little bit better. There weren't players just getting trapped with a ball with no one to pass to, looking around, well, who's getting it now? It was a case of everybody seems to know the role. The forwards got a role on. They created a great platform. And like I say all along, I mean, it just needs a bit of luck. And I don't know, has he done something to a black cat or what? I'm not sure. He's had the best of luck so far with players' injuries and suspensions, and then the odd decision going against us. But it'll turn, these things do. You generally get, at some point they'll come back in your favour, and it could happen in these key games that we've got coming up. So yeah, no, he's obviously frustrated that he didn't get the 2 points against a great team, but he's got to be delighted with that.
Big thanks for your 3-word match reports, man. The matches. I said smarter moments needed. Pattern. Ricky P and his dogs in sale said much improved performance. Tui. Colin Wilson, very encouraging signs. Harvey Levette. Paul Sly wasn't happy with the referee. Tui. Ernie, he wasn't happy with Childs either. We talked about the referee and the 50-50 decisions. Obviously, if you've got access to our RDTV, when they put the game on, you'll be able to have a look and see whether it was right or wrong. Colin Reynolds, very unlucky soul for Tui. Mark Scott, much improved performance. Escale. Natalie Taylor, not far off Tui. Lewis, Escalate, Liver and Patton, all contenders for man of the match. You can only have one, though, Lewis. Richard Morton, much better. Lola here. Paul, you said very exciting game. Harvey Levette.
Yeah, I always find it hard to think of something explosive in 3 words. So yeah, I thought it was an exciting game, to be honest. I was racking my brains. I always find it hard to come up with an headline for the match reports and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the first thing that comes into my head. But no, I thought Harvey Levette played really well, and I think there was an whole host of names I could have gone for, really. Like the listeners are saying there, Tui Lollary had an excellent game, didn't he? And I think Declan Patton played really well, and Rhys Williams on the wing we've mentioned, some of the forward efforts as well. Jack Wells was good. So yeah, Harvey Levette just stood out for me, I think, with his try and his goal kicking and his defence as well. I think he's a real solid defender.
John Waite, attack much improved. Tui. CNR, Paulie is man of the match. He said it was by a country mile. Paul King, director, said we missed you, and his man of the match was us supporters. Parker, it was great to be back in the AJ Bell Stadium. I think it was great that we're all kind of surrounded the pitch as well. I thought it helped the atmosphere. I don't know how that's going to go on moving forward, but I think it helped certainly in the enjoyment of the game.
It did. We commented on that during the game. It actually seemed, even though obviously the numbers were restricted, seemed like a bigger crowd than we normally get for some reason. I think it was the fact that all the stands were open and occupied. I couldn't see what the West Stand looked like, the main stand. I was sat in there, but the others, it looked really good. It was a nice sort of spacing of everybody. Even in the East Stand was looked good. But yeah, it was a good atmosphere, wasn't it? I think the weather helped a bit because it held off during the game. And obviously the game itself creates that. I mean, if you're getting beat 40-0, it's not the best place to be, is it? But no, it was really good. It was great to see people again, faces, at the end of the game going round, and probably not exactly great in this COVID environment, but a lot of hugs going on and that kind of thing. I know we can now, but we've got to be careful. But yeah, no, it was great. And it was a really good atmosphere. And it's nice to see. I think I was a little bit, not upset, but put off by the fact that there was going to be away fans there. I thought this was our chance to get one over on Wigan, put pressure on the referee as a crowd, but they had their numbers behind the sticks and a few in the main stand as well. And it did create a good atmosphere in the end, and it was good to see.
Tony Frame buying into Marshall, Paulie, David Escalade must play, Paulie. Your mate Roy Ellaby, great team effort, Harvey Levette, Duncan, robbed. Craig Carter, Reds are rising, Tui. Patrick Conley, best performance yet, Levette. Eric Rawson, very good performance, Levette. My mate Noddy, 10 times better with Levette. Kevin Longworth, escalate every game. and his man of the match was Escali. I think he played well, and it definitely puts a sort of selection headache into Richard Marshall's head there, Paul, because obviously we have quite a lot of people who can play fullback, and he's played 2 games against Wigan, and both were very good. As Paul goes and plugs himself into the mains, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I've been crying out for him anyway. I'm not always a fan of players playing out position. I know Sarge can do a job at fullback. Obviously, he want an option this week, but for me, it's you play. I mean, he's an international fullback for the same point. He knows the game, and he, as an attacking player, he's always looked really good. And if that's the way we're going to play the game, then he's got to play. I thought he was excellent for most of the game. He was a passion he played that didn't come up when he's a touch, and but. Again, another player that needs games. He's gonna take time. But I thought he did well. Yeah, and I think he needs a run. That's the thing now. Obviously, Elliot Kay now going on to pastures new, and Sarge won't be there for a couple of weeks. It's his spot to lose now for me. If he puts in performances like that for the next couple of weeks, Sarge, when he comes back, he's going back into the centre if he can get in. If Harvey Levett doesn't make that centre spot his own, so. It's a good position to be in. These players have got to perform to keep the spot because they'll get replaced straight away. But yeah, he played well the other day. He is a threat. He's got a little bit of pace about him, a nice step. So yeah, I was very encouraged to see him.
Luke Keane, many wrong decisions, Harvey Levett, and the final one, Andrew, worried about fitness. Williams, have you plugged yourself into the mains now? Is it all powers go now, Paul?
Yeah, it is. I didn't realise I mustn't have charged my iPad up, but it soon drains it, doesn't it? Doing this sort of stuff. So I'm glad it warned me then. 10%. I don't know how long that lasts you for, but yeah, just going back to what you said there regarding. Like Dan Sargison and Escalay as well. We mentioned it before, touched on Joe Burgess, didn't we? I mean, I think you called him a Rolls Royce winger, Rob. That was your quote, wasn't it, at the start of the season? And he's a very, very exciting player. But at the moment, like you said, he don't get in that team for me at the moment. He's going to have to work his way. But that's a good thing to have. That is going to put so much pressure now, and good pressure, on Rhys Williams and Ken Seo to play well in the next couple of games. So you can't argue with that. And I think with Dan Sargison as well, Harvey Levett now in the centres, Callum Watkins, they're going to be busting a gut now to play well against Warrington because they know they're going to have him breathing down the neck. He's had 1 game suspension, so he'll have the Warrington game, the one after that. Then he'll be back in the selection, won't he? So yeah, I think that for me is a coach's dream, having those sort of scenarios.
Yeah, so that's our look back at the Wigan defeat. I'm quite looking at the time, quite conscious, been going on an hour, so I'm thinking that I might put the Paul Trainer podcast out as a separate one because obviously it's been quite a long podcast as it is, and we don't want another sort of half an hour on top of this. I know it's great there'll be people that listen, but an hour and a half would be quite long. So what we'll do, we'll talk about the big game against Warrington on Thursday.
It's time for the Devil in the Details Big Match Preview.
Thursday. So Parky, Warrington Thursday, full of excitement. Got back at the AJ Bell Stadium after big performance against Wigan. Hopefully we can back it up again on Thursday against Wyre.
Yeah, like I said earlier, perform like we did on Saturday, and we've got a great chance of turning a lot of teams over, especially at home. It's a big game. We have got a strange record against Warrington. We seem to go on runs against them, don't we? Was it 5 in a row at one point and things like that? You never know. And like Paul said earlier, you don't know what you're getting from Warrington. They're a great team, got some brilliant individuals who are all banging form at the moment. They look really good. Another great result for them yesterday against Cass. But there's always something. You always think there's a chink in their armour somewhere that you can get at them. And if things don't go their way, they seem to switch off a little bit. Whether that's changed this year, I haven't seen enough of them to say, but they're a great team, really good, some top-class individuals. I mean, Widdop, he seems to be in the form of, well, certainly his spell at Warrington and some of the best rugby I've seen him play. And they're a really good team. They'll be very, very tough to beat, but provided we've got no injuries, no real bumps and bruises, we can field more or less the same side, and the likes of Dick Patton and Harvey Levett with points to prove. I think it'll be an exciting game, and I think it'll be another nail biter. I really do.
Yeah, Warrington are a good side. Paul got some good players. Gareth Widdop, Blake Austin, Darryl Clark, stars all around. Be a derby game as well. Be good to sort of get one over on Warrington on Thursday.
They've got class all over the park, haven't they? And I mean, for a number of years now, you can probably rewind back about 15 years, and every season they seem to sign these world-class names, and you're thinking, why has he gone to Warrington? But they've got that magnet now, haven't they? They've got a decent fan base that follow them there, and they do well. Just thinking before, I was going to mention before, you were talking about the young players that they tend to let go. I think, they do, because they seem to bring in these superstar names, don't they, sometimes, Warrington? They've got a whole host. Greg Inglis has come in this season, and I don't know whether we'll see him Thursday, because I believe, I heard in the press, I think Gary Carter was saying he was in hospital, wasn't he? So I don't know what's up with Greg. So that'd be a shame if we don't get to see a player of his quality. So there's no doubt they're a fantastic side, but without being disrespectful to them over the years, I've always felt Warrington's had a bit of a soft underbelly, not been quite as tough as St Helens and Wigan. You got to St Helens, you never get anything because they're so professional. They don't give you a bean. You got to Warrington, they'll try and score more than you, won't they? They've not always had that pride in the defence. They're more like the Kevin Keegan way, aren't they? We'll beat you 5-4 or whatever. They seem to have that mentality about them, like a swashbuckling sort of style that they have. And I'm hoping that's going to be the sort of way they're going to play on Thursday night against us. And I'm just hoping we've got enough in us to score more points than them, because there's no doubt about it that they've got the players to score points. So it should make another fascinating game and another entertaining. I can't wait for Thursday. I think it's going to be a great game.
Talking about Kevin Keegan, Parky, I'd love it if we beat them. Love it.
He's funny before Paul said that. I was going to say that they kind of remind me of the Newcastle of that period where they had a great team, but like I say, they're always going to concede somewhere along the line. But no, again, like Paul said, going back years now, probably since the start of Super League and before, signing the likes of Alfie Langer and people like that, they just have that every year. They bring in some big name, and it's never really works for them as such. I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but I do. It was the last time they won the league. It's in the 50s. It's ridiculous for a club like Warrington, who are always at the top table of rugby league, always signing great players, always proper hotbed of the game, and just seem to fall short all the time. I don't really know what it is. I know they've had a good run in cups over recent years, but they're an odd side, and a club in that way. But they're building something at the moment, I think. And I think in the next couple of years you'll see a real challenge for them from them. And I mean, like I said, Widdop and like I said, Blake Austin, two cracking players. They've lost a few with injury, I think. I know Paul mentioned English, but I mean, Steph Ratchford's in there, a player who I think as Salford fans will always have a high regard for. He was a cracking player for us, and he was only just coming through really at the time when he was cruelly stolen from us. But they've got some real entertainers, but there's always something about them that's just gives you that bit of hope. I mean, there is that if they do get away from you, they can cut loose. If they start having a bit of freedom around the park and things don't go for you, and only scored nearly 40, I think, against Cass yesterday. They have got some great strike players, but we've just got to concentrate on what we do, and we seem to cut out 90% of them errors we've been making on Saturday. If we can continue that and maybe get the odd decision going our way, it could be a good night. I know it's on Sky, isn't it? It'd be nice to show the rest of the league that. Yeah, we are. We're not struggling as people think. We're actually building something. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but take a big scalp, big name like this, and people start looking at you a bit differently.
I know I've got two of the biggest sort of historical rugby brains in front of me now. Has Warrington ever been relegated? I know they're sort of consistently averagely good, but I don't think they've ever been bad. And I think that's a thing we've got to look at. That we say Warrington haven't won anything since whatever it was, 1950 odd, but they've always been good, average to good.
Oh yeah. I remember. Was it 2003 when we got relegated?
Yeah. Two.
And the 2002. Yeah, we went there, and didn't they have signs up saying 100 years in the top flight or something? 110 years in the top flight. So that's never changed. They've never gone anywhere, and they certainly won't be doing for the foreseeable.
No.
They've always. I mean, that's it. That's the thing about Warrington. It is a proper hotbed of rugby league. there's no football really to interfere with them as such. It's sort of split down the middle a little bit, isn't it, between the Merseyside clubs and the Manchester clubs in Warrington when it comes to football. But realistically, the main focus of the whole town is on the rugby team. So it is a bit of an odd one. They've made grand finals and not won them, but who knows? This could be their year. They've definitely got the quality in there to do it. They've got squad depth. They've got a man like Greg Inglis in the ranks who, if he can pull back the form that he's shown a few years back in Australia, he's devastating. And I'm sure when Paul said it's a shame we might not get to see him, I'm not sure our team would think the same. I think we'd be absolutely delighted not to see him. Yeah. Whoever's going to face him, whether it be Levette or Callum Watkins, he's a monster of a man, isn't he? He's in the Mal Meninga mode in many ways, and I'd be delighted if he's not there. If he's in the stand and I can see him, I'll go, right, I'm near a great player, but I don't want him on the pitch.
No, if it can be helped. But I'll back any of our centres against him as over an 80-minute period. So we'll see what happens. Score predictions. I'll go for you first, Paul. What's your prediction? And do you have a weather forecast, or do you not go that far ahead?
I thought it was going to be dry on Thursday, but every day seems to have rain at the moment, doesn't it? I mean, just looking out the window now, it's absolutely tipping down here in Boston. It's been a bit naff. I mean, Saturday wasn't a bad day, was it? It was okay, wasn't it? I mean, I walked to the ground from Peel Green at the cemetery on Saturday, get my steps in, and surprised how dry it stayed. So, have I got a story? No, I've not really thought about it yet because you caught me on the off on a Sunday night. So, I think there might be a few points in this game. I'm going to go for a nice scoring one. I'm going to go Salford 28, Warrington 24.
28-24, Paul. If that comes in, make sure you go and speak to the underworld before every game. Paul, Parky, next one. What do you think?
Oddly enough, he's just stole what I actually had wrote down.
Oh.
He's just nicked my scoreline.
Great minds, that Parky, you see?
Or just idiots sticking together. It could be one or the other, couldn't it? Me and you. And I did say my prediction last week that it would be separated by 1 point, although it went the wrong way. But it was close.
You were close.
I think we've got a real chance. I'm really encouraged. I might be getting carried away by one performance, who knows? But now Paul's nicked me score. I'll go. I think there'll be another drop goal somewhere along the line. So I'll say 23-18 to Salford.
You were close, Barky, but not as close as... Was it Inu missing a goal or kicking a goal, Paul, that made the difference?
He kicked it.
Close.
Stopped us getting the blooming Nando's, didn't it? The bugger. Yeah.
So, Parky, 23-18. I'm going to go... 23-18. I'm going to go Salford. Let's be sensible this week. Let's not go mad.
Yeah, let's be
We're all going 20s, aren't we? So I'm going to go Salford 16, Warrington 10. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. And I think Levette to score the winner against his former club.
That's the most sensible score prediction I think you've ever come up with in all the time we've been doing the podcast. You can only pluck it out of the air from somewhere.
Yeah.
Must be a Sunday night thing. I don't know what's going on there.
Normally it's the longer it goes on, Parker. The longer the week goes on, the more excited I get about it. So Sunday's reasonable. We'll go reasonable scorelines on Sundays.
We can never say your glass is half empty, Rob. It's always full to the top, full to the brim.
Mostly beer.
Yeah,
mostly. So that's the end of this week's podcast. Park, another great show. Quite enjoyed talking about. Obviously, didn't jump. Well, we got beat, didn't we? But quite good dissecting it and seeing what happened.
Yeah. It's obviously a difficult one. Well, different one tonight because obviously we don't know what's going to happen in the week. Injuries and everything else that'll probably go on. There'll be some story will come out. So we've not had that to discuss. But it was good to come off the back of a performance. That was the main thing. It's about building, and I've said it before. It's not about getting beat. I've had 40 odd years of getting beat. It's how you get beat, and we that could have gone our way. And fingers crossed this week. This is the one that turns it for us.
Yeah, another great show, Paul. Obviously, we've got the Paul Trainer podcast. Obviously, hoping our listeners tune into that as well. It was a great interview and be well worth a listen.
Yeah, certainly will. Yeah, and just echoing what Paul said there, I'm looking forward to Thursday night. It'll be a cracking game. And yeah, I walked out of the ground on Saturday in quite a cheerful mood, considering we just got beat by a point to Wigan, who are not my favourite team in the world. I mean, totally respect them, but you always want to do well and beat them, don't you? So, you know, it was a painful defeat to take, but surprisingly, I was quite cheerful and chirpy because I've just seen a side do well. And I think most Salford supporters, we were brought up that way, weren't we, to respect the club. We don't expect miracles. We're not like St Helens supporters who want a team to win by 50 points every week. I think we're realists, aren't we? We appreciate what the players do. And I appreciated it about on Saturday what they'd done. And can't wait for Thursday, mate. I think we're getting better and there's a lot to be positive about.
Yeah, excited. Hopefully we can beat Warrington on Thursday. Big thanks to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, and YouTube. See you soon.